guys stop at?
I think you finished.
I think I
You finished
I just
U14.
started- I think I just started U14.
No, I feel like you finished U14 because you had already mentioned that by U14 kids technical development should be basically done and all that stuff. They will start the music.
All right. Ready? Start. So for U16, first of all, is there any questions so far that you have? Did you get to check the video? The part that you skipped? You want to follow up? Same one where all my courses start.
I don't really have
So again, as I said, I'm supposed to be starting every video with as of March 24th, 2025. For the 16 players, this is what we're looking for. So we'll be continuing a technical progression, spending no more than 20-25% of practice time on the tactical side. So no more than a quarter time we spend on a technical development, right? So as you can see, the major shift at U14, as I said, we're trying to complete and keep the technique as a progression. Right now, technique is no more than a quarter of our lesson. And even if you want to work with something technical, you attach it to the tactic and you work it like you're working tactical stuff. So pretty much like on courses, starting from CP2 courses being advertised, and everything should go through the tactics. So this is where we're actually starting to do that. This is the age where we actually need to start to go into the grade tennis. So the part that we missed, I was talking about that all the students that we're working with so far, we were not teaching them a grade to grade zone. So it's purely black and white tennis. You're outside of the court, you need to play defense and play crossing. You play a drive, your opponent outside of the baseline, you're inside the baseline, you approach. If you have a short ball and you attack, if you see that your opponent is going to lift the ball up, you go to the net. There's only like one, maximum two options, which is strictly black and white. At U16, this is where we're starting to be more, who are you playing against? So you know that this guy has a better forehand than back. Or do you know that this guy has a weaker slice defense? How would you use it? So like there's supposed to be more specific tactics based on who we're playing against. Consecutively on the practices, we can work on the different, same scenario, but work on a different decision based on who we're playing with, and we're emphasizing that everybody will be able to execute different solutions for the same tactical situation. So this is where the grade tennis starts to kick in. 70% on court work with strengths, 30% with weaknesses. This is where it's starting. So, and this is a big part. I want you to see the same exact way how I see it. At U14, we're not yet making a decision that this is your game style. You still might not hit the puberty, but do not know how tall you're going to be, how explosive you're going to be, how big your serve is going to be. We can have prediction, you might have a predisposition, but at U14 we're not yet shaping. There's like, you're going to be a doubles player, or you will have to do this, you will have to do that. Like no, like we're learning everything. We can make some assumptions based on how tall the parents are. That this student is not going to be super tall, for example, so it's not going to be like, I don't know, big serve, big forehand, but we do not know whether it's going to be aggressive baseliner or a counter puncher, or it's somebody who is like playing off of their opponent, like some like universal type of players. So there's like a lot of game styles within the people who are not super tall, so we're not trying to give them this game style at U14. At U16 we're supposed to be very well aware of where we're moving. And 70% of our attention goes to the strength, the stronger side, 30% of the weaknesses. I arrived, 3 years ago almost, and so far have made a transition only for one player, like from U14 to U16. right? So example would be Simon, right? So Kieran was already like moving to the 16. I didn't get to work much with him through 14, but like Simon, I worked with him like a year, maybe half a year before to kind of figure out that he's what he likes, what he doesn't like. And now all of our lessons are based on like vast majority of the lesson where we're doing something that's going to help him, specifically him, to win the compete, right? So same thing we're doing with Kieran, but it wouldn't be exactly relevant to this document because we didn't have it before, right? Weaknesses, 30%. This is up to you, whatever you would like to address. There's always stuff to address. Even within your game style, you can have weaknesses, or you might have weaknesses playing against specific player. It's up to you, but like keep in mind if your practice is 1.5 hours, usually I guess a 216 will focus a bit for 90 minutes. So 60 minutes, make sure you're spending on developing game style, serve based on this game style, return tactical solutions based on this game style, and 30% something else, including learning a different game style, because some matches you need to play not your game. This is also a big part of it. Part number 3, I wrote it down: opening, mid-game, end-game situations, training structure. So what does it mean? So here you can see opening, mid-game, end-game. I took it, I borrowed it from chess. Are you playing chess? Have you all played chess? Not sure exactly how it's called in English, but like the beginning, like the beginning part of the game, or opening, where it's like first whatever, 8 moves, 10 moves. Then game goes towards the mid game, where people already develop stuff, and this is where the most interesting stuff is happening because majority of these mistakes all of a sudden start to. And there is an end game when one player is trying to already finish up the other player, so the end game. So same exact thing as split it on tennis. So openings would be serve +1, return +1, which I very often call in my terminology 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. We're going to have next meeting that we're going to have is going to be based purely on terminology that I use, Roman use, and now we need to make sure that everybody uses approximately the same terminology, just so kids do not get confused and we do not get confused. So shot 1 and 3 will be serve and first ball after serve, return 2 and 4. Does that make sense? So first 4 shots is open. As simple as that. You go, let's say, Simon, right? He doesn't really care whether he wants to start going with a forehand or backhand, right? So it gives me a little bit more room. So if we're decided to work it slice out wide, he most likely going to receive both of his backhand. So it's like slice out wide, backhand cross, and start the point, right? On the return of serve, same exact things. Like, look, if you choose 5 defensive position, you return the problem. So you're expecting to neutralize not with the return, you're expecting to neutralize with the return and the first ball. So I might as well just serve and feed the next ball to the opposite corner so he goes and tries to do his best to neutralize. Does that make sense? So this is the opening. Then a mid-game, based on the game style. So now, it's already to Simon, it will be easy to explain since you all know him. So mid-game, this guy's major stuff is that his game is based on consistency and his ball quality off the baseline, right? So or slightly behind the baseline. It's like how you move from he's playing from. We're trying to address it right now, changing, but I would say it's very close to the guy who produces a ball quality that forces the other guy to rush and do the harsh decisions on the long ball, right? So this is, if I then get to go with the mid-game, which is like from, I don't know, ball number 5, 6, and 7, which is like 1, 2, 3 shots, it's rally, keep in mind the average rally is like 3.5 shots long. Tennis, right? Because of the first serve, because of the second serve. So do not get to play like for 15, 20 shots. This is not average round. Like try to finish the practice. Try to think of the point as maximum of like 8 shots. Right? So he's playing ball number 5 and 7, which is basically go from a good defensive position, produce a good quality ball, get a little bit closer, go around forehand, put some pressure on your opponent with the forehand. That would be the mid-game type of shots. So those 2 shots. Whatever it is, you can practice so many things around it, but just give me an example of a particular student. And an end game. So we're progressing from there, so if you find his forehand to put damage, you need another 1 or 2 forehands to finish off the point. He's not a big fan finishing at the net, we encourage him to, but it's like if he was able to feel the forehand, then he would have put another forehand, he might finish in the net. If he had played the first one of the baseline, second one he might finish in the service line. This is an end game, the last 2 shots. Like forehand plus volley, plus overhead, whatever it is. So this is how it works. Opening, mid-game, end game. Make sense? Number 4, maximizing match play. Tennis and fitness is an everyday activity. Tournaments are divided with training and development. So this is why we need an extra fitness coaches in our center, because starting from U16, we're demanding that kids have as many fitness sessions as possible, and there's no maximum. So there's like 6 training days, 6 fitness sessions. Every day you play tennis, every day you do fitness. In fact, starting from this age, we can say, look, it's like you went to the tournament, it's raining, there's no tennis, there must be fitness. Whether it's in the hotel room, in huddle team, I don't know, wherever you want to do it, you must do fitness on a daily basis, because it's kind of a piggy bank approach. Like every day you make a contribution towards your fitness. 5th one is mental work slowly turns into the main priority. Mental work hides behind everything you do on and off the court. I have started to speak about mental since U10, because I believe this is the stuff that's supposed to be addressed from the very, very beginning. This is where we're actually saying, like, look, you know that you're going to compete against the players who play at a level of tournaments. What is it, something about you that making you stronger than that? Obviously, there's tactical stuff, right? Everybody has their game style, something they do the best. And obviously, there's going to be like a mental component. Since we're doing fitness, we're going to be fit. If we're started on the right time, fitness should not be an issue, unless of some exceptions. But it's just like there's the tactical and mental component, and now mental component is super important. If you are not challenged mentally in practice, I fail the practice as a coach. And I'm saying like, if you cruise through the practice and you not have to find your demons, I'm not doing my job well enough. So it means I didn't get to this fine line where you're losing your mind because you cannot make it, or you make it but it's not consistent enough. So, and this is where coaching is important. Like, always be on this line and make them break this line. Talk to them about it to break this line again, or like to the point where even like they flinched a little bit because they made an error. They know that they're not supposed to react, but they flinch a little bit. Like, look, I noticed that, it means your opponent is going to notice that, but do not need it. Because if a good competitor sees that there's something that you really, really do not like, they will jump on that. So that's pretty much it for U16 development. Do you have questions regarding that so far? So far it makes sense? Okay. Guess I have to read it again. As of March 24th, for U18, this is where we already adopted the pathway for those competitive streams that we have, competitive 1, 2, and 3, right? Because by the age of 18, like the last two years of training over here, last 2 years before finishing the school, we need to be super, super clear what we're trying to accomplish. Our pathway now lies through the college. And competitive 3 will probably be aiming for top college teams. Competitive 2 is going to be aiming for T1 NCAA teams. Maybe not the top ones, but those provide like scholarship, and that they can help their families or help themselves to get an education without paying full price for that. Right? So this is where our development is going to be slightly different. So I do not have, I don't remember because this is the only one we want to see. This is competitive 3, this is competitive 2, so we get to come back to this to recap. So for competitive 3, again, on competitive 3 we have only kids who are homeschooled. I do not see in Canada that somebody can make it to competitive 3 without going homeschooled. Just how many hours they need to train and how much traveling they're supposed to have. So for competitive 3, we recommend about 18 to 20 weeks to be away for ITF tournament. So pretty much 1/3 of the year we are away for tournaments. Playing ITFs, I don't know, maybe somebody will really have an ambition to win nationals, so like it's like, so you can count if it's together with nationals, it's like 18 weeks of ITFs, 20 nationals. This is all the major tournaments we're focusing on. Once every 4 years we play for competitive 2, it's 6 to 9 weeks away for ITF tournaments during fall, winter, and spring season. We have to communicate it to parents, or like if you're taking a competitive 2 path, expect that even at the high school, you'll need to sacrifice about 2-3 weeks per fall to go somewhere to ITF. Winter 2-3 weeks, spring 2-3 weeks. Because it is possible. Some kids are sick for that period of time in school and they still make it into school, so we need to somehow figure it out at school when we are full time, so we can travel at least like 6 to 9 weeks. I wrote down 6 to 9 weeks away, which is minimum is 2 weeks per season. We have to leave. So 2 weeks fall, 2 winter, 2 spring, and maximum volume of tournaments during summer. Just because to get to US college, we're not hoping for UTR or WTM, we're getting ITF because this is the biggest and best proof of your capabilities of playing the college is to have a high ITF. Right? So players should know by this time how to progress without always having coach around. And this is where starting from U10, all of those stuff is like not make the same error again. Like look at the ball, train the ball, right? I'm making adjustments. All of this stuff starts to actually apply because the coach is not staying behind. They know if they make errors, they have to address it. No errors happen by accident. There's just like there is a reason behind it. We have to figure out how to solve it. I'm not having it today. I have to figure out how to win. We do not need coach. Hopefully, we do not need coach for that to figure it out at too late. Which is, to be honest, it's extremely hard goal. Seeing how juniors are playing in ITF, like they have like this middle, like extremely important point. There was this point they do not recover. The match is over. Whether they're top 100 or top 50, they're still like they're not capable to turn it around without coach. Even some HB and WT players do not do it either. So that's an extremely tough goal. But hoping from if we're gonna go and address it from U10, we can move on. Second, home is a rest and intense fitness time. Tennis work with the most frequent errors such as sharpening the patterns, match play, display order. So whenever kids are not away, so they're away 1/3 of the time for competitive 3. 2/3 of the time they're home. They're doing intense fitness. They're doing tennis training. They're addressing primarily stuff that is like related to their games. Now the next one we will see 90% of work is with the strengths, 10% with weaknesses. So we're basically have an athlete. We know what the athlete is doing. We're making sure that this athlete is doing something what they do the best, even better. Right? It's too late to say, okay, we gotta reverse your game style. Well, sometimes there's some exceptions, but for usually if we did our job right at the age of 18, like 17, let's say, I have a kid, or it's like, okay, biggest strengths footwork, forehand, serve, no brainer. Right? So let's hold our serve, maximizing pattern that will give us a forehand. Let us learn how to neutralize return so we can get a forehand over neutral ground. Right? So it's like this is our fundamental skills. We're doing that every single day. Number 4, mental and physical development are in the first place. So in the previous one, if you remember, that was mental and tactical, right? Because we were actively learning like a gray area. Here we already figured out that every opponent has its little key to the game, how I can break this person. So this is where like, I know I will figure it out. I just need time on the court to figure it out. And in order to have this opportunity, I have to be fit, right? So it's like, I'm not sure if I'm going to break this guy in 2 hours, but in 4 hours, I'll for sure break this guy, right? So this is the mentality. If we're physically strong enough, we should be able to do it regardless how bad the match is. I know I'll figure it out because I have the capacity to run through it. Does that make sense? Why the fitness is there? And obviously, if we're speaking about someone who's going to win ITFs, at the age of 18, every match kids play at ITFs already bring them quite a bit of soreness and stress on the body. So by the time of the semi-final, everybody's already feel pains, everybody feels sore, everybody will feel uncomfortable with muscles, something tight, something sore. This is normal. The stronger you are physically, the easier it is to handle that. It's the same as stress. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. It's all about how you're taking care of it, how you handle it. Right? Where we're talking about the mental component that is like Q10 players feel stress in the tournament, adults feel stress in the tournament. The difference is the tools that we're using. Same thing. I don't know, the Q12 player might feel soreness a little bit. It's just like, oh, my shoulder's sore, so let's say they're not serving. And somebody in adult, the whole body is sore. The only one thing that's not sore is my eye, but I still play. I don't complain. I'm a one. And so on and so forth. The last one, big emphasis on how to balance education and tennis. We are the ones who are supposed to deliver this idea. Most of the times I was meeting coaches, Eastern European coaches, they're like, there is no way you're going to make it if you're going to be in school full time. True. Like I do not see how you can get that many hours needed to go pro without quitting school, but we are trying to make kids go to top school, and if they will want to become pro, they will become pro after college, which is like 5 years of training that they can get to compensate for something they've missed during those 10 to 18. So this is our task to encourage them to stay disciplined with the homework, with the exams, with the stuff they do on their own. You have a free time, do not play phone, go study something, because you can play more tennis, you can practice more, you can play another tournament if you're going to be doing well in school. And then in high school, we'll have to also keep in mind, just like if you do the homework, are we good on that side? Because it's almost like it makes no sense to develop a good athlete for college if they're going to go to college and they're going to quit because they cannot manage school and tennis together. It is hard. I didn't have the most difficult major, but I've seen my teammates, when it comes to somebody who wants to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, it is taking a lot of hours. And you're supposed to do fitness, you're supposed to do recovery, you're supposed to do tennis, you're supposed to do tournament. It is hard to balance, and we should start explaining it right now. But right now, I need like 2 is like those 2 years to kind of prepare them there. I'm sure you might have heard stories, you definitely heard stories of people going to the States, try for first semester and saying, no, that's hard. I cannot maintain, because also like social life, like I can't do that. So we're done with this development path. Anything to comment on in U18? Okay. So next page, as you can see over there, is the general things to keep in mind players at the tournament. This is the one that is for student, that's separate. That's awesome if you have a pilot student, you can be a little more specific. But if, let's say, there is 2 coaches and 30 kids, they come at the same time, sometimes kids play each other, they do not feel comfortable coming to the same coach speaking. I'll jump in and say a couple words regarding that. If you know that both kids are going to come talk to you, and if you know that this kid is playing against a kid who is also training in the same facility and have some trust in coaching, do not give tactics away. Speak about strength, ask them, Sadi, what is your strength? Exactly, right? Sadi, who are you playing against? I don't know, Duncan. What is Duncan's weaknesses? Just say it. Do you know what to do with it? Oh yeah, I can try that. Sure, try that. Do not give it away and say, oh no. You play Duncan, cut the back, and all you need to do is to hit forehand cluster. No, have that, because the last thing you want to do is to lose the kid's trust, right? So at the beginning, that's how it was, but then later on, as they see that I mentioned to them, like, let's say, like, oh, you're playing like that right now. Sorry, I cannot tell you what to do directly. But if you want to share with me your plan, like, I can tell you whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense, because this is your strength, this is your weaknesses. This is good. So let them come up with a plan. Don't try to get too much into tactics. Speak more about like the mental, physical aspects of it. Right? So, anyways, so 2 coaches, 30 kids. Hit Weavers gets my student to talk to her, because I went to take a lunch, because I eat for like 3 hours usually. So it's coaches away, only Hit was there my very next to go. So if it's a U10 player, something that we need to say to start with is like, be better at the end of the match than you were at the beginning. So as the key one for all the age groups, it is fine to get on board and to not get what you expect. It is fine to have a plan A, plan B. None of this plan works because you're extremely stressed. It is fine to have very, very little in the beginning of the match. And you 10, you 12, you 14. What we're trying to say, if you start at your 10% and you haven't found a way to get to your 20 by the end of the match, you gotta do better. Right? Most of the time, kids are very proud of themselves. It's like they really buy into this. It's like, I feel like I started at my 50, and then by the end of the set I was at my 80, and then I've kind of felt like I'm dropping in the second set, and then I'm back in top, and this is a 10-year-old kid. Amazing. Imagine a 10-year-old thinking about their tennis this way. They can't have an analysis how their performance is going up and down, right? And all they know is just like, if I'm down, I just need to do those minor adjustments to get up. Super useful. Yeah, look for adjustments. Obviously, effort is 100%. Next one. Show presence with footwork and body language until the end of the match. That's for U10. So, footwork standards, showing our opponent that our footwork is there, that we're there, staying in the match. Number 3 for U10, no ball is meant to pass me, which is also related to footwork, until the end of the match. So, better at the end of the beginning, footwork standards, and pretty much effort, run and grind to fight for every ball. Do not give more than 3 balls for the match, because they will barely remember one. Like, especially if they're stressed, you can see the stress level. Even if they will remember one, they will be good. This is why even those 3 are pretty simple, pretty straightforward, right? Something that you do on a daily basis, something that you do on a training. At U12, same thing. Be better at the end of the match than you were at the beginning of the match. At anything. Right? So same exact thing as at U10. If you cannot do your technical stuff, make sure it's tactical stuff. If you cannot do like tactical, make sure it's mental stuff. You started putting down, and then you started to do balance your feet, show strong presence, show some energy. At anything, like you can become better as a competitor. For example, like I noticed by the end of the set, he started to use forehands. Awesome. This is part of being a competitor. You're seeing what's happening on the other side, you're catching that, and you're trying to change your tactics to damage that particular opponent. over, you go sit down and you think about what did I do, how many points I actually lost compared to how many points I just gave away. So 2 presents per game, so let's say it's a game that's like 40 left. I'm expecting that at least two balls, my opponent should, like, I don't know, force me to miss or hit a winner or do something incredible. Another 2, okay, and do 12, I'm still missing, I'm still shaking, so this is the goal. If it's more than 2, if I'm giving 3 out of 4 points away, if something wrong, I'm rushing, I need to become more consistent, I need to make sure my opponent does something to win. Same thing as if you 10 strong presence show more positive emotions than negative. Right? Some of the kids are amazing already at the 10 because of their emotions. I'm not going to focus on doing that. We have a lot that are doing very good. So do not stop and just like, oh, I'm not hitting the racket, I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming. Just like, well, you lose the point and you immediately go like this. Right? Lose the points, go straight. Right? Very much. There's a lot of things you can do. G14, same thing. We're better at the end of the match than we were at the beginning of the match. As you can see, all 3 ages, regardless what age, we're always dealing with some stress, with some problems, technical, tactical ones. It is fine to start very low. It is fine to start not where you expected. Try to get better by the end of the work. Find a way to get into your opponent's head, prevent him to let it. Oh, sorry, that's a mistake. The 14-second one. To find your opponent's weaknesses, what wins will use the points, and how you can take points away from your opponent. If nothing works, how not to be the match away. So if you remember at Q14, we were starting to learn some gray area. At Q16, we're actively bowling, but we're actively exploring a gray area of tennis. At Q14, we're just starting to, right? Given the fact that those tournaments, kids are facing each other so many times, they already know who they're playing against. So this is where already we can start just like, did you figure out whether your opponent's, I don't know, forehand is breaking more often than backhand? Ask this kind of questions already, individual questions. This is where we're addressing that kids should become a good competitor at this age. Like I'm playing with the person on the other side. Together with considering how terribly or how well I'm doing, I need to keep in mind how terribly or how good my opponent is doing. Because it's a game between 2 people. Yeah, so if you figure out how to take points away, good. If you didn't figure out, do not give points away. That's a huge one, and in fact the next page is going to be based mainly on this one, and I'm a big believer in that. If you can't offer anything, the worst thing what you could say to the kid or the tournament, just go and practice. Use it as a practice. I'm playing a strong opponent, that's fine. I know you're gonna lose, go and practice. No, practice and the practice. On the match, if we cannot win, we make sure that our opponent is taking the match away. So if I cannot do something amazing to take the point away, I cannot build the point, I cannot define weakness, let me play the best ball I can in, so my opponent deserves a win. So he is sweating or she's sweating on the other side to get the match away from me. Does that make sense? This is a big one because unfortunately I've heard so many times in the year, it's like, it's okay, just go practice, just practice. No. If you want to practice how to not give matches away, certainly go ahead and practice. This way you can teach them, but do not tell them, oh, practice your big serve, practice moves forehand, backhand moves anything. No. Why? Because later on, whenever you're going into the next level in the ranking, always, any ranking, like Tennis Canada or ITF, you need to beat people who are stronger than you are. To beat somebody stronger than you are, most likely, you will have to wait for the opponent not to do something well. And to define what your opponent doesn't do something well, you should focus on that side. You should play the ball, you should see what your opponent is doing, right? You should stay not giving points away for like 3, 4, 5 games, sometimes for entire match, just because this is the only chance to win the match against a particular player. Because today they cannot take match away. Right? Number 3, I think for team, strong presence. Don't help your opponent to figure you out. Only the information. That's the highest thing regarding presence. Our opponent feels that we are here. Our opponent, I guess I should have defined strong presence, right? Are we all on the same page and understanding what we're talking about, right? So it's like your opponent feel you every second of the match. They see them and change over, and they hear this. My feet are activated, right? Like I'm shaking the water bottle. Like I'm standing up, I'm jumping, I'm screaming. It's like before each return I'm there, right? Like I'm there, and I'm looking right in there. So they always like, okay, this person is here, they're present. But before serving, I'm not just like coming here and like being extremely fancy. Like some of the players are. This is not who we teach. We're teaching somebody who is like extremely old. First of all, because we're teaching future college athletes. And they're needed. They're truly needed. Is that a good enough definition of a strong presence? Right? So strong presence and don't help your opponent to figure it out. And imagine that for the whole match you're getting a strong presence, you're ready, and then all of a sudden the match is still going. So this is where you're reading information. Okay, this person is already. I'm talking to this person. I got it. The match is mine. If your opponent thinks this way, this is where you receive feedbacks after the match. Stating my opponent play like Roger Federer. The guy played amazing. Why would you play amazing? Because from the very beginning of the match, you're showing that you lost. And the person who plays with you, they're like, okay, I'll win anyways. Right? So this is the confidence coming. They have no doubts. They're playing, they're going for stuff is working. So this is where I can't even explain how many times I've heard those guys in my teams telling me that they're playing Roger Federer. Every time. If they play well, they just play, they grind it out. If they do not play well, they play against Roger. It's either one or two. 216. Finally, we do not have to better in the end. It's already supposed to be printed in the head. Find your game or do nothing with quality. At least, do not give matches away. A little progression, I'll explain it again. I did it from the first lecture. Our progression is we're making the ball in, pushers, move ballers somehow. Then we learn how to make ball in, remember? The second one, after making the ball in. You want to remember? No. No. What's the second progression? Making the ball in, then? Did anyone hear them? Then make the ball in well when you're swinging with racket head speed. Right? We're not moving the ball yet. The target was you're swinging fast, you're automatically starting to have qualities like top spin, like pace. Whenever you're comfortable with swinging fast, and then you're starting to apply quality. Right? So my expectations is that already by the time of U16, everybody knows how to make the ball in with racket hit speed. They do not rely on guarding the ball or pushing the ball. They're making the ball in when they swing. And this is where we're looking for find your game, which is game style that we're working 70 to 30% of the ratio at U16, or at least do nothing with quality. What does that mean? I'm letting my opponent beat me, but I'm not playing it like sitting down in the center. I'm putting decent racket hit speed. I'm moving it away from the center, from the best shot of my opponent, or I'm moving it like deep enough to keep my opponent outside. So I'm just making the ball in with quality, and I'm waiting for my opponent to come up with something. Because I cannot come up with something myself. So I'm not feeling match win. This is where it's coming from. 16-second one, that's a big one. Find a way to get into your opponent's head. I hardly heard many coaches teach their students to get into their opponent's head, but that's a supreme level of a competitive skill. Right? We're already fine with whatever we know, whatever we can do. As early as possible, we need to try to figure out who we're playing against, who is this person, how they're doing today. We're trying to get into their head in a different way. Something that we do well, something they do not do well, something that we force them not to do well, and so on and so forth. So we're looking for a way to get into your opponent's head within the legal frames, right? So not like, oh, this ball, like you're saying, out. That's not the way we're teaching to get into your opponent's head, which is certainly gets into your opponent's head. But for example, grunting can get into your opponent's head, right? Some people are extremely annoying with grunting. Legal. Do not particularly teach it, but I'm just giving you like those, trying to filter stuff that is like, we can explain, and something that is like, no, we're not cursing our opponent on the changeovers. And so find a way to get into your opponent's head and prevent it to let it happen to you, right? Again, we've been learning how to not leak any information, how to not let our opponent to read us. So now, since our opponent cannot read us, he cannot get into our head. We're not helping him. The last one, it was 16, fight with your heart. Right? It's a summary of everything we've been learning at U10, U12, U14. And before we've been having like 3 tasks per match. Now it's pretty much 2 tasks. Tennis level is getting more complicated, and fighting with the heart is just like, whether it's working or not, compete. If you do nothing with quality, if you're just waiting for a mistake, you can still look like you believe you can win. Right? Because sometimes some people are very, very good tennis players, but they're tanking without actually tanking. Like they're playing there, they're even showing like some presence, but they already have no belief they can win it into their eyes. They're a good tennis player because they're like, oh, I might have a chance to, my opponent might still, I don't know, break the leg, so I might as well just stay in the match. Right? So this is where like fight with your heart, like even if nothing is working, just stay like believe you're gonna get to it. U18, figure your opponent out. What can you do to maximize your chances to win, minimize your chances to lose? Find a way to compete against everybody. I really like to speak a lot about maximizing chances with the older guys. Sometimes I have to speak with the younger guys, for example, when they're losing from match points. They're asking what I could have done better. Right? So it's like saying, well, did you do something that maximizes your chances to win? I guess not. Well, see now you have the chance. If you have a match point, it's a tight match. You win the match by doing this certain stuff. At the match point, you're doing this thing. You're not winning. You might as well do not have regrets because this is the best thing that you have offered today at that moment. Let's come back to practice. Let's get stronger. Let's, for example, if it's your serve, let's work on your serve that you can just like perform serve at day point. But as of now, if you did what you can do the best, so this is what maximizing chances is. And use it. I find kids resonate with that very well. Like maximizing chances. What can you do? Just maximize chances. Find a way to do it against everybody. Okay, don't give points away. Your opponent has to deserve every single one of them. Same thing. It's just like staff are repeating it with themselves, but some of them are just like on another level. So before we were not thinking about how to not tank the match, tank the set, don't tank the game because of like emotions. So now like don't give points away. Every point's matter. If you're left footing down, it's not the time to experiment. It's still the time to come back in the game because this is something that can get into your opponent's head. If I'm coming back from someone serving left 40, I'm most likely going to get into their head. Does that make sense? Don't give points away. The third one and last one at QAT, come up with the most effective tactic to take points away from your opponent. So at QAT, we expect that whatever game style we choose for a player, they know how to take points away when they have to. It gets tricky when the players, let's say even somebody like Simon, who used to play out of the consistency, so that means that a big part of his game depends on your opponent, right? Sometimes the opponent locks in on those very moments and they start to perform extremely well. So it's almost we feel like I have to take it away. My opponent's not going to give it to me. So at QA team, every game style, everybody's supposed to have like those certain combos. Not necessarily forehand, just like forehand would be the easiest one. Right? Like certain things, there's like, this is how I can take points away. And by the end of the match, when you're a QA team player, you should know exactly how you are taking points away from your opponent. That's a mastery thing. Maybe it's my serve, maybe it's my return. Does everybody understand this one? I'll spend the last 5 minutes on showing this table. Check it out. So that's extremely unreliable table. Why? Because I created it based on analyzing last 3 Atlantics tournaments. I was watching like different age groups, how they play, and ratio in between points that are taken away and points that are given away. Right? So what I come up with, so I divided 3 different categories of the matches. The matches where we're expected to win, so we're playing somebody lower level than us. Matches that we know that like I'm always up and down with this girl, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, so it's like she's approximately my level. And this is someone I haven't beaten yet. And these are the ratios what we're looking for. For example, if I'm playing someone who is lower level than I am, I'm expected that I'm gonna take match away. Right? So if I play someone lower level, I'm not hoping to play up to my opponent's mistakes and errors. I'm not hoping that they're gonna have a bad day, right? I'm a stronger player, I have my weapons, I have to take points away. So I'm expected to take most of the points away, just like over 50%. Right? Like I did the stats based on the number. I was counting some matches, girls and boys. Also, I was assuming one particular one, so this is an experiment, right? But I want you to take a look and give it some thoughts. There's like, I'm playing someone lower level, I'm taking more than 50% points away. I cannot afford giving more than like 15-20% points away. Even though I'm being a little bit riskier, I should not lose my mind. Because if I'm going for shots that I'm missing more than like 20%, I'm not playing it right. Right? I'm risking to let this person be vice versa. I'm the player who is not as strong as my opponent. I'm not expected to take the match away from him. Right? Coming back to what we spoke about on the previous page, it's like if I cannot offer anything, I might as well just stay in the match and see if this person can take vast majority of the points away. What most of the time happens, they underperform and they cannot take points away. They try to and they miss like 40%, and another like 60% of the points were actually fighting. So here I am. Here's my chances to win. But I will never discover these chances if I will go and I'll play against somebody who's stronger than me, and I'll have mindset. I'm just gonna practice my swings, my strong serve, my big return, and I have 0 chances to win whatsoever. Does that make sense? And when I'm playing somebody close to my level, depending on the game style, this is the most probably inaccurate one. If you are playing somebody lower level, depending on what game style of that person, depending on what's your game style, but we're trying not to go far from a 50% of taking points away, giving points away. Right? It's a competitive match, it's supposed to stay this way. If I'm playing one and one is my level, and I'm giving 70% of the points away, the match is not going to move. Does that make sense? Yes, pretty much it. Last 5 minutes I'll speak about our schedule. So I'm away next Monday, and the following Monday I'm also away because I'm going to be on the plane. So for next 2 weeks we're not going to have anything. And if I remember it right, we have Easter on April 18th or whatever it is. I'm not sure. So we have to double check this one. In general, all of those meetings supposed to be on board. Why? Because one more meeting we will have where we will go through paperwork. It's going to be terminology, and the rest are going to be on board. We're going to have coach, we're going to have somebody a coach, somebody a student, and we're just going to review how do we teach like a technical, tactical stuff, what feedback we give based on the terminology that we have, and so on and so forth. So it's always going to be on board stuff. I just do not know how to market in Google Meets that it's like that it's on board. It just always shows it online. I just haven't discovered it. So if somebody knows, email me. How to do that. So next 2 weeks for sure we do not have anything. And then we're gonna start bi-weekly. Maybe we will do week a week just to catch up for something that it was. We will see. Okay? Any questions? No questions? Even I have questions. Right. Great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.